They told me your heart slows down with age. That after 70, it starts counting backwards. That your lungs shrink, your knees ache, and you should accept it. That was never easy for me to hear. I'm 76 now. I have 3 pairs of reading glasses, a drawer full of pills, and a few scars I rarely talk about. But recently, something changed. I picked up a rope. Not to measure anything. But to jump. Not once. Not twice. But 1,000 times. Every morning. Before breakfast. Before excuses. When I tell people that, they blink. Some laugh. One neighbor said, "Harold, are you trying to become Rocky at your age?" Even my doctor paused, raised a brow, and said, "Why push yourself now?" I didn't answer him. Because it wasn't about pushing. It was about staying. Staying curious. Staying active. Staying with my grandson. He's 9. He jumps like a spring. Fast, light, tireless. And I wanted to be there with him. Not on the bench, not watching from the porch, but beside him. One jump at a time. The first few days were brutal. My lungs felt tight. My legs wobbled like cooked spaghetti. I stopped at 80, then 150, then collapsed in a chair pretending I wasn't dizzy. But something inside me shifted. The next morning, I got up. And did it again. Then again. Day after day. Not perfect, not strong. But consistent. And one day, something happened. I looked at my resting heart rate. 17 beats lower than when I started. From 85 to 68. That number made me cry. Because in that moment, I knew. I wasn't just jumping rope. I was waking something up. Something that had been quiet for years. My heart. So this is my story. A quiet one. No trophies, no finish line. Just a rope. A tired man. And a reason to move. If you stay with me, I'll tell you what I did, how I measured it, and how one small habit might change everything. Even after 76. I didn't always think about my heart. When I was younger, I thought about my knees more. My back. My joints. But never the quiet beat inside my chest. Then it started changing. I remember the first time I walked up the stairs and had to stop halfway. Not because I was lazy, but because I couldn't breathe. It felt like someone was pressing on my ribs from the inside. At first, I thought it was just age. You know, normal aging. Slow down, take it easy. But then it happened again. And again. Even walking around the grocery store started to feel like a chore. My legs got heavy. My chest got tight. I finally went to the doctor. He checked my resting heart rate. 85. He looked at me and said, "Harold, we need to talk." Turns out, a resting heart rate above 80 after 60 is a real red flag. According to the CDC and Mayo Clinic, it means your heart is working too hard even when you're not. And that kind of strain can shorten your life. That hit me hard. Because my older brother passed away from a heart attack at 73. My father, before him, had the same story. For years, I'd been pretending I wasn't scared. But deep down, I was terrified that I'd be next. The doctor said I should walk more. Try light movement. Nothing intense. But walking felt boring. Pointless. I needed something that woke me up. And that's when I saw my grandson with his jump rope. He was jumping with so much energy, so much joy. He laughed with every bounce. And I thought, maybe I need to borrow a little of that. So I did. And what I found surprised me. Not just in my body, but in my mind. I used to think jump rope was simple. Just grab the rope, move your feet, and your heart will thank you. I believed effort was enough. I didn't measure anything. Didn't track my breath or pace. I just jumped. And the more I struggled, the more I thought I was doing it right. No pain, no gain, right? That's what I told myself. Day 1, I pushed hard. Day 2, I pushed harder. By day 3, I was pushing into a wall. I woke up exhausted. My knees ached. My back screamed. I could barely finish 50 skips without feeling dizzy. My heart was pounding so hard it scared me. But I still didn't stop. I thought the pain meant I was making progress. Then came the 4th day. I nearly blacked out after a quick set. I sat on the edge of my porch, chest burning, vision blurred. And in that moment of silence, I finally asked myself, am I doing this wrong? That night, I sat quietly and started reading. For the first time, I learned about something called VO2 max, the amount of oxygen your body can use during exercise. It turns out, after 60, this number matters a lot. It can predict how long you'll live, how strong your heart is. I also learned about resting heart rate. A simple number, taken every morning, that tells you if your heart is overworked. Mine had been 85. Way too high. And here I was, making it worse with every careless jump. I started to understand why I was getting tired, not stronger. It wasn't the age. It was the way I pushed. I wasn't training. I was punishing my heart without knowing. So I changed everything. I began jumping in short sets. Breathing with rhythm. Resting when needed. I tracked my heart rate every morning, like checking in with an old friend. From 85, it dropped to 82. Then 80. 2 weeks in, it landed at 77. Small steps. But each one felt like a quiet victory. The rope didn't feel like an enemy anymore. It became a mirror. A way to talk to my body. To listen. To respect the pace of healing. And in those slow, steady jumps, I found something I hadn't felt in years, a quiet kind of control. I never imagined I'd come this far. Honestly, I didn't even think I'd stick with it for more than a week. In the beginning, just doing 50 skips felt like a battle. My lungs would tighten. My legs would shake. And I'd sit down, dizzy and embarrassed, wondering, was I already too old to change anything? Sometimes I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. His shoulders had slumped. His belly was soft. His eyes held a quiet question. Is this it? Is this who I've become? But something started to shift. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just, quietly. I wasn't jumping harder, I was jumping softer. I began to listen to my breath instead of fighting it. I focused more on the rhythm than the number. I stopped punishing myself for being slow. I started thanking myself for showing up. Then one morning, I noticed something strange. I wasn't gasping anymore. I finished my set and didn't need to sit down. My hands didn't tremble. My heart wasn't racing. I checked my tracker. Resting heart rate, 68. 3 weeks before, it had been 85. I blinked. Checked again. It stayed. And in that moment, I didn't feel strong. I felt still. Calm. Like my heart had finally found its rhythm again. That number meant more than just progress. It meant my heart had started to rest again, finally. And at this age, that's everything. A resting heart is a heart that can live longer. That can hold more. That can forgive. I decided to try something new. A simple VO2 max test I read about in a heart health article. I walked for 6 minutes, steady pace, then sat. Timed my recovery breath. It used to take 4 minutes. Now it took 1 minute, 30 seconds. That small change. It felt massive. Not because it proved anything to anyone, but because I felt it. Deep in my chest. That shift between just surviving and rebuilding. Some days, I still struggled. There were mornings when my knees ached too much. Or when the weight of the world sat heavy on my back. But I kept showing up. 200 skips. 500 skips. No ego. No stopwatch. Just me and the rope. Then one morning, something clicked. I didn't set a goal. I didn't count. I just jumped. And I didn't stop. 100. 200. 500. 700. 800. I remember when I reached 900. And I wasn't struggling. I was steady. My legs were tired, sure. But my breath wasn't fighting me anymore. I wasn't trying to escape the pain. I was moving with it. At 999, I paused. Looked up at the sky. It was soft. Quiet. Like my breath. And then I jumped one more time. That was 1,000. I didn't cheer. I didn't cry. I just stood there. Feeling the earth beneath my feet. My hands are loose. My heart is steady. My eyes, a little wet. Not because I hit a number. But because I didn't quit. Because this tired, aging body still had something left. And more than that. It had learned how to listen. How to slow down. How to heal. In that moment. I wasn't old. I wasn't broken. I wasn't behind anyone. I was just here. Alive. And finally, at peace. I used to think strength meant pushing harder. Going further. Outrunning the clock, the pain, the fear. But I've learned something different. True strength, at least the kind that matters when you're over 70, comes from knowing how to show up. Not once, but again, and again, and again. Quietly. Consistently. Even when no one is watching. That's what the rope taught me. It didn't demand 1,000 skips. It didn't care about form or speed or perfection. It only asked one thing: will you try again today? Some mornings, I didn't want to. The aches in my knees. The cold air on my neck. The little voice in my head that said, "You're too old for this." But I'd still show up. 10 skips. 20. Some days, that's all it was. But those days counted just as much as the big ones. Because the real victory wasn't in the number. It was in the rhythm I was building. The trust one was growing with my own body. And over time, that rhythm became a kind of peace. Now, if you're still with me, and your heart is whispering that maybe it's time, you don't need a big plan. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to chase 1,000. You just need a place to start. That's why I put together something simple. A 30-day jump rope tracker. Nothing fancy. Just one page you can print out, hang on the fridge, and mark each day with a small yes. It's the same one I used. The same tracker that saw me through days of doubt, days of joy, and everything in between. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. You'll find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. No email. No login. No catch. Just take it. Use it. Let it be yours. If you miss a day, cross it off anyway. If you can only manage 30 skips, that's enough. If you go for 5 days and then stop for a week, it's okay. This is not a race. This is a reunion. Between you and your body. Between your breath and your hope. And if you do print it, if you do try, would you come back and tell me? Just leave a little note in the comments. Tell me what day surprised you. Tell me what your breath sounded like. Tell me if you smiled. Because we're not just sharing a routine. We're reclaiming something together. Your rhythm. Your rest. Your right to start again, no matter your age. And if today feels like a good day to begin, then I'll be here, quietly cheering for you. Just like my own heart does, every morning I pick up the rope.